Welcome, everybody, to the Battlefront to Homefront podcast. I'm your host, Scott Jones, coming to you from the Sober Life Studios and brought to you by One Brother, One Sister. And, of course, brought to you by Mission United, from the United Way to Mission United, all the great things you guys do. Sean, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again. I look forward to this every month.
I would love to tell you I do too, but I'm too nice to lie. No, I'm kidding. We just got to pick a different day. Why did we pick Monday mornings? I mean, you guys watch this. It's a Tuesday night. It's a Wednesday night. But we record on Monday mornings. Why did we pick Monday mornings?
I don't remember why.
It was like in every Monday morning, I'm like, that was really stupid. I'm miserable on Monday mornings.
Well, we can always change days.
We can change days. But you know what? When you leave, I'm happy. So maybe that's good. I need my dose of Sean happy for the coming week.
Oh, I'm so glad I could help you.
Before we get into our guest, and this is a guy that both of us know very well, but I want to talk to you. How's everything going with Mission United? Any new news or anything going on that we should know about?
Well, I mean, constantly, last time we talked, we lost a little bit of funding, so we had to move some people around to a different department. But we're constantly growing, moving faster, and I mean, we've had so many events. Most recently, we had what we call a Hero Fest at Nova South University, which was very nice and went very well. Where we brought in probably about 30 or 40 community partners. Were able to set up and provide services directly to the veterans and their families right there on the spot, or sign them up for events that are coming down the road. So it was a great success. We had a lot of people, a couple hundred were there. So, I mean, it's a great opportunity for veterans and their family. They usually, when you hear the word stand down, most of us think about that it's for just homeless people. So that was one of the things that they restructured, they changed to make sure that we let them know that it's not a stand down, it's a resource event. Plus also we supported Equine Therapy at the Trade Winds. They had an event the same day where they were talking to veterans and their families about horse therapy and the opportunities they have for individuals with disabilities. So that was a great opportunity as well to get that out there. And
terrific.
Yeah, a lot of those events that we have coming up, like October 14th at 5:30 p.m. we'll be at Sharky's Bar and Grill, supporting the Mayor of Coral Springs, Scott Brooks Veteran Network Alliance. He's going to have vets there as well, and we'll be set up to talk to them about our services and have a veteran service officer stand by to talk to veterans if they have questions about their benefits and entitlements. And then we have our annual Thanksgiving drive. That's always a great thing. That'll be coming up. There's so much going on. Shout out to on November 15th, Regency. I'm not exactly sure where they are. They're giving free dental care to veterans.
Wow.
So that's a fantastic. They reached out, so hopefully I'll be tabling that event.
Now, all of these things, we're flying by them and we're not giving you tons of detail, but if you go to the website, unitedwaybroward.org/Mission United, you can find out about all of the events. They're all listed there. And check them out. Check out those events with the Harvest Fest, the Xmas stuff, the Christmas stuff, and all of that.
Yeah.
So much going on.
Yeah. This time of the year, there's so much that's going on in different areas, especially, November being, a Veterans Month. There's so much opportunities going on. Yeah. I mean, there's a veteran breakfast I believe on the 11th in West End. I don't have them all memorized off the top of my head, but if you do a Eventbrite or a search on any of the chambers, you'll find all these wonderful events that you'll find us part of. So there's so much going on.
See, if we weren't recording on a Monday morning, we'd be smart enough to print these out ahead of time. But we chose Monday morning.
But even Wounded Warrior, I'm doing an event for them in Coral Gables at the University of Miami. They're having a fantastic event. So look up the Wounded Warrior. I can't remember the exact date.
October 11th.
Thank you.
Yeah, October 11th.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you. Like I said, I had to check my calendar because I'm assigned to so many events. Sometimes I lose track of which ones I'm at and which ones we're supporting, but there's so much going on.
There are so much, and check your local city or town sites to see what events they have. There's a lot of mental health stuff going on out there right now, which I think is fantastic. I know there's 3 or 4 major things going on in October for mental health.
Yep.
So go and find out whether you're supporting first responders or just anybody who's dealing with a mental health issue. Please get out there and show your support. Now it's more important than ever because there has been a loss of some funding, but you know what, we can kind of pick up that loss with more awareness and more participation. So we definitely want people out there.
Well, it's definitely great about this type of work that we do is somebody may lose funding, so we can pick up or support them until they can find the funding, or that's the whole part about it. I really love what we do is the community that we as soon as we find out if somebody else is hurt, and somebody else will, hey, listen, how do we support, pick up, or whatever we can do to make sure that nobody is lost in the shuffle. So
now, speaking of veterans, we have a veteran with us, United States Marine Corps. Thank you for your service, my friend.
Welcome.
This is John Schrey. You are with Haven for Heroes, and that's part of the Haven Treatment Center programs. But Haven for Heroes, you're the Director of Military Affairs.
Yes, sir.
And that's helping primarily with addictions and mental health, correct?
Mental health, yep. PTSD, all the things that come along with that, because that can obviously manifest in all the, depression, anxiety, all these different things. So right now we have 2 facilities in Florida that are, mainly for our Haven for Heroes programs.
And that's now, I want to take today, because we got 2 great veterans sitting here, and you guys both working in the industry of trying to help other veterans with mental health, addictions, homelessness, all sorts of issues that they're facing. Let's talk about the actual problem itself. Now, John, you got involved in this because you're a veteran. Did you have personal experiences that said, I have to help others?
Yeah, I mean, so I got out of the Marine Corps in December of 2014, and then pretty much spent 2015 trying to kind of hold my life together. And by the end of 2015, ended up homeless and everything else, strung out on drugs.
Wow.
So I was homeless from, when I say homeless, meaning I left my house, and either I was in the VA psych ward or on the streets for the better part of 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah. So I finally got sober in 2019, started to work, work in this field, and just started to build my life back, and just kind of, work my way through that whole thing. And now, yeah, that's where I got to this point.
Wow. See, one of the things, Sean, you and I have talked about many times is that one of your roles while you were in active service was helping people in understanding services and doing all that. So you had kind of a different leg up when you got out than most people have.
Oh, yeah.
Did you not have that kind of information when you left about where to go, what to do, and who to ask for help?
No, I mean, the only reason I ended up going to the VA, so I went to the VA to get my disability and everything, but at the end of the day, when I finally went to treatment for the first time, which I ended up going 12 times, but the only reason I knew to go to the VA was because I went online, and the treatment center that I went to funneled me into the psych unit at the VA to detox. That's really the only, it was really from their marketing online that I was able to know that this is the kind of the way it has to go if you want to get help. So.
Sean, is this something you hear a lot?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, we've had a conversation before, and a lot of people, as I've explained, is, before 2011, there was no structural process for individuals to leave military service. It was like, hey, thanks for your service. The VA's over there. Well, the VA, and then you hear horror stories from your friends, and like you hear people like, or somebody tells you like, listen, if you go to the VA and they give you a disability rating, you'll never get a job. Because nobody wants to hire a VA. I've heard all of that kind of stuff over the years, but I mean, unfortunately, like I explained, it's like I was lucky enough that my last bit in the military was a desk job, and it was being phased out, so they didn't require a lot from me. So I learned a lot. So I had that opportunity. But I mean, I've told stories where I remember on a cruise, we left Jacksonville. Our first stop was in Spain in the Mediterranean. We had a guy that was with us that his relief didn't show up, and we needed him, and we couldn't leave without him. So this poor kid stayed 2 weeks beyond his contract was up. He basically rode across the ocean with us. His relief showed up. They talked. He got in a plane, flew back. That's his exiting out of the military, because we were doing workup cycles. He didn't have an opportunity to go to any transition class or learn what his opportunity. He basically worked up past his last day in the military and flew home, and he's a civilian. Say, hey, have a nice day. Go see the VA. So there's a lot of people. Unfortunately, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk. I'm excited to talk to you guys today and share this with our listeners. is because many of us don't have the experiences that you guys have had being in the military. And though we appreciate it and everything else, we don't have that frame of reference to understand what that's like. What we do see is that when you go into the military, your entire life becomes about service. Every part of your life. It's not like you go home every night and you get to be a regular person. You're always military. And then all of a sudden that turns off. What goes through your mind when that happens? Did you have a plan in your head, or what was it?
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the main things, right? When you say service, purpose, right? To kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, sure.
But you don't know that you're serving a purpose. Like when you're in the military, you're just doing it. Like, I'll speak for myself. Like I didn't realize that I had such a high sense of purpose, right? Because it was just doing the job, and that came along with all these different acts of service, and keeping guys alive and training new men and men and women and all that different stuff. And so when I got out, or when I was getting out, no one had that conversation with me. Like, hey, like, what are you going to do to fulfill yourself, right? For that sense of purpose. What are you going to do to, fill your cup? I guess is the analogy. Yeah. And so it's almost like I talk to guys about this all the time. It's like, if you don't know what's coming, or you don't know what's bothering you, because when I got out and that sense of purpose went away, drugs and alcohol for me were kind of the way I numb myself, and that whole deal. But some people would manifest in other things. But like, if you don't know that you're lacking purpose, how do you know to find another purpose? Because you don't even know that that's what it was that you're suffering from. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's a big part of this whole thing too. Is like, that's why I'm so loud about like my recovery, and like I don't hold anything back, because for me it was like life or death. Like I had to find another purpose.
I'm just thinking about your last year of service, mm-hmm. and your first year of civilian life. Describe that change. What happened to you? Because you went from, even though you didn't understand the purpose, you went from a comfort zone of, I know what I do every day. I know what I'm supposed to be. And I guess I'm trying to draw a little bit more of, what did that feel like to lose all of that, as you just stated?
Yeah. So I'll just go through a little. So my first 4 years, I deployed twice to combat zones. So a lot of, combat and that whole, did that whole deal. Right. Between my first and second deployment, I got young Marines under me. So I had, my sense of purpose was to couldn't have got any more. And I got injured a couple times in my second deployment. So I got concussions from IED blasts. So now I'm non-deployable. And so kind of right away after that first 4 years, I got a non-deployable duty station. I went back to Parris Island and worked on, kind of a desk job, but on the rifle range. And so I still had, I was still putting the uniform on every day. I was still getting up for PT at 5:30 in the morning or whatever it was every day. But I didn't have that life or death, that raising young, bringing guys through the fire type of like purpose or whatever.
Right.
And so I already was, and it's okay to drink in the military. It's almost like, if you can drink and show up for work, it's almost like a badge of courage. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was already drinking heavily, but it was just like everyone else was drinking heavily, And so, but again, that I kind of like started sliding downward to the point when I got out of the military, and now everything, it was all quiet, right? All sense of purpose, all sense of like having to be up at a certain time, all that was gone. I don't know. I don't even know. I couldn't even describe the feeling, because I just substituted it for substances.
Yeah, it's not like you were going out there and I'm going to party hard and be a rock star.
No, I had a baby.
You were self-medicating.
I had a daughter who was, when I got out of the military, she was, about 4 or 5 months old. So the last thing, I joined the military late. I did 8 years. I joined 20. I was like 32, 33 years old when I got out. I wasn't trying to party,
right?
At all. We bought, I was trying to raise a family,
I got to ask, and both you guys, because I hadn't really thought about it the way we're talking about it, and this is really good. I can see where you can restore somebody's, help somebody deal with trauma through treatment, deal with addictions, obviously, deal with depression or anxiety, but restoring that purpose. Where does that come from? And I guess this is one of the unique things about dealing with, a first responder, more importantly, a veteran, restoring that sense of purpose has to be a priority, doesn't it? For both of you.
Well, I mean, definitely. I mean, you're used to a certain way of life. I mean, like the longer you're in and the more higher pay grade you get, people rely on you. And then some jobs, it's like, what do I do with this when I get out? All of a sudden, I'm the subject matter expert on a widget. And then I get out. What do I do with that? And it does. A lot of people I know when I got up in the military, I know where I was going. I know what the job entailed. I know the whole outcome. I know what my purpose is every day that I went to work. And all of a sudden you get out now, like, how do I make that purpose? And I don't know where to go with that. A lot of them having the transition and that type of personality out in civilian life. They're like, I don't know what to do with that. And yeah, so it is. It is a lot of conversations that I, even when I used to work for the state, when I sat down helping veterans find work, it's like, well, I don't know really what I want to do. So then I started test. Do you want to, what do you want to work inside? Do you want to work outside? Do you want to be around people? So I started asking questions, and so we're like, okay, so that's great. So now we can narrow down. Maybe we could find you something. So, but
yeah, I mean, that's great. A lot of people don't have that opportunity.
No.
People aren't asking them that question.
Yeah.
I think he brings up a good point too, or you touched on it. So I did 8 years. Again, I did, and I did, do a lot of things overseas and stuff. But we're at a time now where people haven't been, like, military hasn't been to war, right? The majority of guys getting out of the military now for 4 or 8 years or even 12 years haven't really seen combat.
Right.
And a lot of the way that, this is getting a little bit further into the weeds, but like the way that like programs are structured for PTSD and things of that nature are for guys that have been to combat, right? So it's always like they want to go right to like, oh, well, PTSD from combat, and a lot of these guys from now are guys getting out with 20 years, right? Like guys like him that like, so my sense of purpose at 8, I can't imagine it at 20 years, right? Like that from 0 to 100 to 0 is like insane to me. Like I'm very close to my old first sergeant. We just got off the phone actually. This guy did 20 years op tempo, deploying, leading Marines. Like I can't imagine that like hollow, that hole in him when he gets out after 22 years of having done what I did for 8, for 20. You did 20 years.
I did 24.
24. Like, and I think that's what I'm trying to, not to bring it to like what we do at Haven, but what I'm trying to preach is like, those are the guys that I'm worried about, right? Like those guys that have been drinking for 24 years pretty heavily, but had a really good career. What happens when you get out?
When you lose that structure that's maybe been keeping some things in check, now you no longer have that.
Yeah.
And the uniform identity, the loss of that could be just as devastating as a traumatic event. You don't have to have PTSD to have those issues. You mentioned something about, you work on widgets, then you get out in the civilian world, and it's like they've never even seen that widget. They don't care about that widget. It's maybe you fixed big engines and tanks.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but there's not a whole lot of room for a tank mechanic at a Ford dealership.
Right.
You've got to take. So I'm wondering, can we put more focus into taking the skills that were learned, leadership skills and organizational skills and all those skills, and kind of help mold so that you don't have to give up everything you learned? You don't have to say that was for nothing and now I got to start from zero. Is that you follow my point, right?
Well, I mean, there are some programs now talk about how time flies. About 15 some odd years ago, the Department of Defense, thought about that particular question. And what they did was they built tech schools on about 12 Army bases where military members could go to a tech training. A lot of these were like GM, Boeing, a lot of these, blue collar type works. They set up where military members could actually go and get the training before they got out, so they could, do that, conversion of what it is that I could do and turn that into a civilian skill. Nowadays, it's called Skill Bridge, where a military member can request their last 6 months of service going to on-the-job training with a company. A company can go online and go, okay, we're willing to take a military member. It has its pros and cons to the whole program. But the biggest issue for a military member to overcome is I got 6 months left to go, but I can't go because it's not just an automatic thing. You have to request it up your chain of command and request that. And so you're asking your boss, go, hey, listen, I know that I'm a critical part of your team, but I need you to let me go for 6 months so I can get this job.
And knowing that that's not going to be backfilled. Your position's not going to be backfilled.
Right.
You're just going to hire out for another 6 months.
Wouldn't you feel like you're letting your troops down too, and your buddies down a little bit too? I mean, there's got to be that pressure as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like going on a furlough or whatever they call it, leave of absence.
Yeah.
That the job is not being filled because you're not there.
Right.
But I mean, it does have its pros and cons. Like for a company, it's great to go out there. Like some of the big ones that I've worked with, like some of the rent-a-car places that are doing that, we'll use them for example. They'll allow the member to come work for them, and the greatest pros and cons for a company is this is still a military member. They're being covered by their active duty salary, their active duty medical coverage. So no matter what happens to this individual, you don't have to worry about this. So if they're on your way to your job and they get into a car accident or whatever, you don't have to worry about insurance-wise because the military is going to take care of them. But also on the other end, this person belongs to the military, so they can be recalled at any time during their period. So if you're putting all your energy into this individual to be part of your company, and 1 weekend they get a call, say, hey, listen, we need you back. But also too is that because they all happen, we get people that get into the program and they're working for somebody and the company's going, how the hell did you get here? You don't know what you're doing, and they don't even have to fire this individual. They just call the regional coordinator guy, goes like, listen, send this guy back. It's like, I don't know how he got here, but he's or she is a waste of energy. But I mean, it's a great program, but it's very difficult to get into. But still, in the long run, it is very difficult to, like my last sea rotations, because that I deployed 3 times back to back on I was assigned to 4 different sea commands on my last 4-year rotation. I literally started in one. I was building a ship, got deployed to the Philippines right after the tsunami hit Japan. So I was out there finishing up that cruise. I got back 2 weeks later. I was deploying on counter drug ops on the Pacific side of the Panama Canal. Then I got back, and 3 weeks later, I was deploying on a Westpac off the coast of Japan and China, going toe to toe with them. It's like literally, I was, for the last 4 years of my sea rotation, I was gone 90% of that in that op tempo. And then all of a sudden, it's like anything is like when you come out of a rock concert, your ears are still buzzing. Like at the end of my career, it's like I still have all that buzzing going on. It's like, okay, how do I figure out where to go from here?
Right, right. John, getting involved with Haven for Heroes, you've been doing this now for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been with Haven for a little over 1.5 years.
Okay.
But in the veteran space, as far as recovery, for 4 years now.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. And I think my son was in Paris Island while you were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
No way.
And I'll tell you after when we get off the air his name. And if you heard of him, that's probably not good. It's not a place where you want to be like, oh, I remember that guy.
Right. No, for sure.
But, do you find it personally rewarding to do? I mean, we've had this conversation before about what it really rewards you to help. Is this really personal for you too? Do you find reward in helping other military members?
I mean, yeah. The problem is, I think it's too personal sometimes, right?
Like, see, I don't think it's possible.
Well, I'll explain. So the problem is that we're kind of at the mercy of, like, we're a community care provider, right? So we're at the mercy of the VA hospital for all, unless it's an emergency, which then we have ways to be, if they're actively drinking,
right.
Alcohol, where where it's deadly if they were to just quit. So they need emergency detox. That we do have the ability to take someone right off the street, a veteran right off the street, or if they're suicidal. But anything other than that, me being a heroin addict, like, that's near and dear to my heart, right? So if I have a Marine or military service member who's doing heroin, like, I can't just, and they really need help, and I find them meet them on the street, I can't just say, come on, let's go. I have to go through, here's call your primary care and, go through X, Y, and Z and the whole process. And then, they're usually, if they're like me, I mean, that's a lot to ask for a guy who's like homeless on the street, strung out and dope sick.
And you can only do so much of that process for them.
That's the
they
problem.
have to do it.
Right. And then they'll go to the VA, and then the VA is like, because of, and again, I love the people that I work with at the VA. So this is not an indictment, and people always like start taking shots. We say
it all the time. The people at the VA are the best.
It's a system.
But the system is broken.
It's so broken. And so, they're because of budget cuts, or it's always something else though. You know what I mean? Now it's that's a good reason, but they'll want to keep them in house. For instance, I had a woman call me, the fire department who I have a relationship with in Palm Beach County called me, and this woman had been Baker acted because of her drinking numerous times. And this was a Friday. She was being released, and the VA said, all right, we'll come Tuesday. We'll, for a intake or an assessment on Tuesday. Well, the fire department called me because they're like, she's not going to make it to Tuesday. Yeah. And so luckily I was able to take her and get her in, but like, that's not that system is not working for someone. And with fentanyl on the streets, when you're a heroin addict and they're saying, come back in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it has to, within 10 days, that could be and to go further, if someone's calling for help, this, you got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
Because if I'm calling for help, it's usually because I'm out of money. Whatever, for me, it's like whatever reason gets you into treatment, it gets you to help you or gets you to ask for help.
Whatever opens you up to accepting help.
But if I figure out how to get some money in that meantime, well, now you're never going to hear from me because I'm off to the races again.
Absolutely.
And that's why the personal side of it is like, man, it feels great when like this woman, I got her in Friday night. She's doing great. I called this morning, then feel great about what I do. But when I can't, then it's like, that I take personal too, so it's tough.
Yeah. And I understand, but I've also been around treatment facilities and treatment programs where they try to numb themselves, where it's like, you know what, you can't let it bother you. They're going to die sometimes.
Right.
But we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want that one death is acceptable.
Right.
Yeah. Let alone 100,000. So we will lose sleep because of what we do. We will, sometimes cry into our pillow and say, I can't fricking do it anymore. And I'm not. And then you get up in the morning, you eat your Wheaties, you drink your coffee, and you say, all right, let me go do it again. Yeah. Are there stories that keep you going?
Yeah.
Without names, but are there people that have stayed with you and really made an effect?
100%, and whether it was my story keeps me, you know what I mean? Because I know what's possible, really, and I think as down and out as you possibly could be. I've died a bunch of times from the overdose, the fentanyl thing in 2017. And so I know that no matter how low someone is, like it's possible. So really that's what, I don't ever, but I'm very rigid about this now. Like if you don't want the help or you're not willing, if you are, then I'll go through, I'll go through the fire with you. But, the first story is my first job in treatment was when I was newly sober. I had maybe 6 months. I lied to get the job. I did, and it was with adolescents.
You weren't all better yet.
No,
still had the liar in you.
To be honest with you, I even spoke to my sponsor about it, and they said, well, they're not even supposed to ask you how much clean. Whatever. It was working overnights at an adolescent facility. And of course, I know more of these adolescents that have passed away in the last 6 years than I do. But there's one, and his name's Ian. He doesn't care that I say this, and I just got an invite to his wedding. He was the law, and he couldn't hold a sentence as like what was he, 17 when I met him? He's 22, 23 now. Couldn't hold a sentence. And I always look back on that kid, man, like because he used to always be up early, and I was working overnight, so I'd get the guys up early, and he actually did the deal. He did everything. I got him into a sober house like right after that, and he and I have stayed in touch. Now he's like traveling Europe and ended up he's marrying some girl from Germany. Oh, but like that's like my first one that like it's worth it. Yeah. It's worth it.
It is, and to be a part of that is huge. And Sean, I know you and I have talked about it. Yeah. People still get you, don't they? Every once in a while, where it's like, God, it just lights my heart up to see them succeed.
I can't tell you the number of times that something simple, like a couple months ago, I was helping out a veteran who's been out for about 4 or 5 years. And I got to talking to him. I'm like, he filled out his own VA claim. I'm like, no, come on, dude. So I introduced him to a veteran service officer. He went from 10 to like 80 and within 6 months. And now he's getting all this stuff. And I can't tell you, I've actually run into people that I remember when they were down on their luck. And I've run into them at other opportunities, like, hey, I remember. It's awesome to see that I remember, like when we were working together, you couldn't figure out how you're going to pay your bills, how you're going to make the rent, and now here you are, you're like a manager in this company, you're doing great. Everybody, those are the things that keep coming back, just seeing it, even if it's not just me, because I work with so many wonderful coworkers and hearing the stories. Like we were talking about in particular, like we had a older veteran. He was blind. He was living in filth in this apartment. He thought that he only had one roommate, but it turns out there was like 5 other people living in the apartment with him. They were stealing his food. They were stealing his money. The place was falling apart. And then watch how, my coworkers bent over backwards. We got him into a clean place. We got him clean clothes. Now he's doing phenomenal. He's getting great health care. And it's wonderful, because he was very resistant in the beginning, because he was very kind of grumpy old, like, I don't need this. But now it's just to see him, he's doing so well, and it's phenomenal. I mean, those are the things that just, it's really great to see people prosper. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, I even ran into one guy at an event. I remember him telling me that he was living, what was that, Stone, whatever it was down there. He used to work with Operation Secretary, Stone Hall or whatever they were.
Mm-hmm.
He was with them, and now he's working for another nonprofit, telling me how, like, one of the guys that I work with helped him out. So, it's great. When you run into those people and see where they've gone.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we make this abundantly clear that all of the people that you help, and you deal primarily with residential issues, homelessness, things like that, although, you do connect people with education services and everything.
Yeah.
Not everyone who ends up in a bad space is because of an addiction or alcoholism.
No.
Not everybody. There's a great number of them, but it's not everybody.
Yeah.
But I don't want anybody to assume that we're saying everybody that you service has a problem. But when they do, that's why you have to partner with places like Haven for Heroes.
Yeah.
What makes them so special in your eyes?
One of the things I just really love for the community partner is the passion and the drive behind the individuals that are doing the work. I mean, it's not, we don't look at people like they're a number. We look at every person different. We don't look at them like, hey, I need 100 vets in here. No. I'm looking at every individual vet. It doesn't matter whether it's 100 or 3. That's why I love working with these community partners. It's the drive and the thought that they're not looking at people. It's not a rotating door. Let's get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out. Just if we can just help one person succeed, that's the goal. If we can just help one person, and then we'll move on to the next person, and then it works. That's why.
I think it's important to talk about the elephant in the room, right? Like not in this room, but also, right? Like, it's a for-profit company, right? Like, and I'm very clear on that. And I think it's because I operate. So I'm on the Mission United board in Palm Beach County too. So that's kind of how we got connected, actually. Yeah. And I do a lot of work with Jonathan Oakley, who is like a one-man just machine, and just I've learned so much from him in the Mission United in the nonprofit space. But like, my goal, and my company knows this, so I can say it, is like I've worked for a few different companies. Is like, if they're not doing right by the veterans, I don't care how much money we're making or how much they're paying me. Like, I'm not going to be involved. I've been offered more money at different places. Like, I'm in this to provide hope, really, and give men and women another chance. You know what I mean? Like, I was given 12, right? And I didn't get it on the first time, but I never want to hide from that. Like, I'm mainly around nonprofit organizations, because I'm at the homeless shelters, and I'm all at these places. And it's like, and sometimes I get looked at as like, oh, the big bad Haven, the for-profit, money grubbing industry. And it's like I don't hide. We are for profit, right? Like, the owner of my company is in it to make money, but along the way he gives a shit, excuse my language. Yeah. And he allows me to do what I think is best for the veterans. And that's great. That's all I could ask for, but there are a lot of like bad actors in it. Right. And so, and we're in South Florida. So I've had to that's why I like to I come around everybody and like get to know who I am, because if you get to know who I am, then you'll know that like when they come to our treatment center, like they're going to get what I tell you they're going to get, now whether they get sober or they, their PTSD magically disappears is not going to happen. Now, if they put the work in, and then they're on their way,
Now you represent Haven for Heroes.
Yes.
What you do reflects on them, but what they do reflects on
100%.
you. It reflects on you. So when you stand in front of somebody, you need to know that the people behind you, Haven, is doing the right thing. Now I'm gonna help you out here. 90% of all medical and or clinical programs or offices or hospitals or anything in this country are for profit. 90%. There's only 10% nonprofit. Because nonprofit can't get everything done, and it's understood. It doesn't make us evil. It doesn't make us evil. I mean, I've done nonprofit. In fact, we own a profit and a nonprofit. The profit does things the nonprofit can't do. The nonprofit does things the profit can't do. That's got nothing to do with it. It's about keeping your word and doing the right thing by the clients.
Exactly.
And that means the world for you. Your integrity now, how important is that to you?
I mean, it's especially since I got sober, it's everything, because I can't, for me, it's like life or death. I can't be a liar. You know what I mean? Like I can't be like, I can't do it. Like it's just, so not that anyone else can't. And I think to your point too, I wanted to bring it back. I also don't want, like you were saying, not everybody that ends up homeless or, is substance abuse related. I think it's very important for me to also say, I don't blame PTSD or the Marine Corps or anything for my substance abuse and the reason I ended up homeless, because I used to do drugs before I joined the Marine Corps. I joined at 25, right? I knew all about drugs. I would join the Marine Corps because I was running away from like the streets and everything. And I was already into trouble then. Right. And then the Marine Corps gave me purpose and I had a great 8 years. But when I got out, I knew exactly what would numb what was going on or what would quiet that ringing in my ears. And that was drugs and alcohol.
Yes.
And it did for a long time until it didn't, but that was just my way of coping. When other people, my two best friends in the Marine Corps committed suicide, right? That was their way of coping with what was going on inside. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with you 1,000%. Nobody's saying that the military creates an addictive personality. No. It creates that everybody who walks out is traumatized or damaged individuals. We're not saying that at all. And in the military has made a lot of changes over the years in dealing with trauma and things like that. They're looking at trauma treatments that can occur in the field and different things like that. They're constantly, but it takes time to figure this stuff out and everything else. I think really the biggest issue that we're having right now, and Sean, we're going to say it again and again and again, is that people don't know what's available to them. Yeah. So that when you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, you don't realize all you got to do is reach your hand up and you can get out through the top. And somebody will grab you. Somebody's there. Yeah. We still got to keep spreading the word. And that's why I say these events are so important to attend so that we can spread the word about what services are out there. Because I'm sure, and we talk about your partnerships, you partner with people all over the place because you can help them and they can help you, right?
Right. So we were actually, I was at Hero Fest too, and I was like blown away by how many, and there were 3 rooms. There was the main atrium, and then there were 2 other rooms that were just filled with resources. And that's one of the conversations we have at the board meeting for Mission United Palm Beach is how do we and they, luckily I'm the only homeless one in there, right? I think that's how I made the list. But I said, look, which is fine. Like that's how I got my job.
Didn't know you'd get an award for that.
Yeah, right. Like you're it's become my biggest blessing, being a homeless heroin addict. But no, like it's getting the word out.
Yeah.
Right. Number one, I think providing hope, which I think, and having been to Mission United in Broward, like it's just so cool what they have, all the different resources they have. But it's even more so in Palm Beach because we don't have a brick or mortar place to go. Like what is it called? The ARC or
the VRC, the Veteran Resource Center.
Veteran Resource Center in Broward is awesome. We don't have one of those in Palm Beach, so it's even harder to get the word out. All we do is basically the funds that we get, they get disseminated to the community partners, right? And different nonprofits like a Herd Foundation, which is for an awesome equine therapy, and they're getting into families as well. The Project 22, which actually I actually got to partake in their hyperbaric sessions
Nice.
from Mission United's grant
Yep.
before I became part of the board. So I've actually have been able to benefit from these. Wounded Veteran Relief Fund. They put me in a hotel back in the Christmas of 2016 when I was homeless. Did I stay sober? No. But did I actually think get some hope that somebody still cared about me? Yes. All these different providers. But if no one, again, if I'm homeless on the street, I'm not there's no more yellow pages to just look things up.
Yeah.
Where do I go? I don't know the websites. And I think that's the biggest, you hit the nail on the head. How do we get the word out? And that's gotta improve.
That's got to improve. And one of the things that you can do for everyone out there if you want to make a difference or help somebody, maybe you know somebody who's struggling, you want to get some more information, go to unitedwaybroward.org/Mission United. Find out what programs are going on. Reach out and talk to Sean or any of the people there. Now, if they want to learn more about what you do with Haven for Heroes, the Haven Health Management System, how can they find out more about you guys?
I mean, you can go to our website, which is just Haven Detox. But really, I mean, I'll give my phone number. My phone number is 512-620-4038. 512-620-4038. That's my personal number. Ask
questions.
Yeah.
Ask questions. Set up a tour so you can see what's going on. You might not know anybody today that needs help, but if you have the information today, then tomorrow when you come across somebody, you can help them right then. And
it's
there.
Amazing how once you have the info, all of a sudden you know somebody that you can help.
It is.
It's like I bought a red car because nobody has a red car. Next thing you know, you're driving down the street, every freaking car is red.
Exactly.
It's always been there.
Notice. I mean, also to the same thing. It's I attend the transition classes for Southcom, and when I tell them right next to your 911 number is 211. Doesn't matter what state you're in. Every state has a 211 for anything that's resource available. If you see a neighbor struggling, call 211 if they won't call them and say, hey, listen, and they'll figure it out. They'll get somebody, they'll figure some local community that, hey, listen, we got somebody. Can somebody go say something? Can somebody go talk to them? I mean, because we're the same way. I mean, we have an entire engagement team that I've had people like the VA Bill Kling in Sunrise. I was talking to a couple of administrators and they were telling me that there was a homeless encampment near them. And I'm like, really? I never noticed them. So I called back and said, hey, listen, can we get somebody to come down here and talk to Bill Kling and find out where they're at so that we can engage them? But like I said, we're also too, is one of the things that we're doing here at our Veteran Advisory Board is we have these little palm cards with our information in is we're encouraging our community partners to take them with them, hand them out to people. You see somebody on the side of the street with a sign that says, hey, I'm a homeless, give them the card. You might give out 100 of them, but at least if one calls, and then it snowballs after that and so on. They're maybe, hey, listen, I got help, and maybe they'll share that with somebody else they know. So, but like I said, that's the biggest thing is getting that information to the people that don't have access to the information. Our homeless people, it's not some of them have burner phones, some of them like that, but they don't all have internet connection. How do we get that information to them to let them know? Because there might be 10 people, but if we can just get one of them, and then who knows where we go from there.
I settle for 1 out of 100 now. You know what I mean? It's just so just 1 out of 100 is a good number for me.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I tell people, I don't care how many people talk. If I could just help one person, that's all that matters to me. I mean, because then it just takes one, and then one, and one, and one eventually adds up to 100.
John, there's people out there listening right now that maybe they're on their last leg, or at least they feel like they are. But they don't want to ask for help. They're afraid to ask for help. They just don't know. And I guess sometimes it's better just to say F it and not do anything. What do you want to tell them right now?
It's okay. And we've been there, right? We need to know. I know it's scary to ask for help. You don't even have to ask for help. Just let us know. We'll handle the rest. It always comes out. It's a very simple answer for me. It's we can't help what we don't know. So we have to know that there's an issue. I hate to say it because a lot of people are just going to blow it off and everything. But if you could just give it, we'll go just let us know that you need something. Let us know. or that you don't need help, but you just want to talk, right? Like phrase it however you want to phrase it.
That's right.
You know, that's
right. And nobody's putting you in a lockdown facility. Nobody's taking away any of your rights, and you've always got a right to choose and make your own decisions. But if you don't have all the information, how can you make those decisions for yourself or for anyone else? So ask for help, or just call and ask questions. Ask questions. Be curious. Don't be lost. We can help you guys. John Schrey with Haven for Heroes. Thank you so much for taking your time and talking to us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it, brother. Always good to see you.
Yep.
And Sean, October's a busy month for you. November it gets even busier. So, I think you get a day off in May next year. So you just keep plugging away. And thank you for everything you're doing for our communities. And every time I turn around, I see you somewhere. Yeah, although I went to coffee the other morning. Were you there?
No, I
I finally made it to an event he didn't make it to.
I know. It's like I feel like I had another event scheduled at the same time. It's like
so you were at a different event.
Yeah.
See, that sucks. You just got every event people want you there. Me, I got to sneak in and they got to say, who let that son bitch in?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So for United Way's Mission United program right here in Broward County, thanks for joining us on Battlefront to Homefront podcast. Please remember to like this show, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. Leave a comment. Those are important to us. We'll catch you next time. Everyone out there, take care now. Bye-bye.